It's your friend Haley again. Today we have a very exciting video for you. And by we, I mean just me, because let's be honest, I do this completely by myself. We're doing a complete drugstore ultimate favorites video. So I've gone through my recently decluttered collection and I've picked out my ultimate all-time favorite drugstore products for you guys, just to give you kind of a heads up of what I think is the best at the drugstore. These are things I will repurchase as they run out and love and consistently use. So I think I've got a pretty good, lovely, curated collection for you. So I will get right into it because we don't want to waste any time. I think I'm going to start off with tools first real quick. I don't have a whole lot. I tend to prefer my brushes to be of a superior quality because I beat the hell out of them. But I found that there are a few from the drugstore that I really, really like. No surprise to anybody. Real Techniques, but these specifically. They're eye brushes I've kind of meh on just because the shapes don't really fit the style of eyeshadow I like to do. Totally fine. For my personal collection, these are the ones that do it for me in descending order. I like the powder brush. I think it's the just all over powder brush. This one's really just good. It's synthetic for picking up a lot of powder. It's dense enough to give a little bit of coverage, but it's fluffy enough to kind of blend it out. So I like that one quite a bit for that. As blush brushes go, I am a sucker for a tulip shaped blush brush. The soft synthetic fibers that are in like a graduated sort of shape, like the shorter ones and then they get longer towards the middle, it picks up product perfectly and it distributes it so evenly on your cheeks. It is so beautiful. I've got my Natural Bristle Smith brush that I use for blush, and it's good for like the gelée formula blushes that you need a stiffer brush to be able to pick up. But as shape goes, I really prefer something like this to apply blush to my cheeks and blend it out. I just do. It's so nice. And the last one, which is like, I can't do my makeup without this thing. This is the setting brush, and I use it for setting my under eye, and it fits so nice. Look. It fits right in there. Oh, and it sets it so nicely, and it fits right in the lid of my e.l.f. HD under eye powder so nicely, and it just, like I said, I can't do my makeup without this. Sometimes I'll use it to like sharpen up the sort of cheeky underneath contour area, but for the most part this is just strictly under eye setting. So that one is important. I have one more brush that I fell in love with kind of by accident. This is from e.l.f. and it's their like all over complexion brush. This is like, I want to say $4, don't quote me on that. Sometimes their brushes are sneaky and like creep up a bit, but I have two of these and I use these with my Hourglass powders. So, you know, $4 brush, $50 powder. And it is so great for bronzing. Watch. So, I'm sure you've seen me do it before, but you just like swoosh it in the powder and then you get right in there, up along there, and then under there. And it's just, it's soft and fluffy, so it distributes product nicely. It's synthetic, so it picks up the product fairly nicely. But it's synthetic, but it's got like a wavy bristle, which is really great for grabbing product. It also distributes it really nicely with the fluffiness. And for my Ethereal Light powder, which is the brighter white one, I use the same brush, newer one, and I just kind of dab it along here to kind of apply a lighter powder, and it's just, oh, they're so good. They're so good. If you haven't tried it, just try it. I wouldn't recommend it for all over powdering because it is kind of pinched. It is pretty narrow in through there. So I like a rounder version of a brush to kind of powder everywhere. But if you're looking for precision and for getting like shape, something like this is really, really good. And highly, highly recommend. I should get more. And the last kind of tool that I've got that I kind of can't live without is the Real Techniques Beauty Sponge. And I stand by it. I'm not going to buy a beauty blender. I just can't do it. $30 for a sponge? No. So I'll buy these. I buy them in the 2-pack for however much it is. This one's gross because it needs wash. I do use it. I don't use it as much as I used to. I've been using a buffing brush lately just because I'm too lazy to go downstairs and wet the sponge. But if I'm somewhere where it's easy to wet the sponge, or if I'm feeling particularly fancy and want to do like cream contour or something, I'll bust this out. And it's really quite good. I like the shape. The pointy end is good for getting up in there, and then the flat end is good for like baking and stuff. I don't do a whole lot of baking because I've got dry skin, but if I want to, I can, and this guy will be my friend. Next, we're going to move on to base products. I don't have a primer from the drugstore that I really like, so there's not one of those. But there is a powder, a couple of foundations, and a concealer that I quite like. So let's start with powder. This one you don't see online a lot, and I think it's because it is a Canadian exclusive brand, and us Canadian beauty bloggers, guys, there's only a few, so we're not as prevalent as the American ones. This is the Rexall Monochromatic Pressed Powder, and this is so soft. Like, I bought it and I was like, whatever, I need a setting powder and it's nice. There's a ton of product in this thing, weighs an absolute ton. Got your weird mirror in the back. I'm going to do a swatch. It won't really, it's just a light face powder, which is fine, but it feels so silky. And this mixed with the foundation that I've been using lately just makes my face feel like satin. It's so nice. The coverage isn't crazy. Like, it's for sure just like a light setting or even almost finishing powder, but the texture and the way it sets down your makeup is divine. I can't, like, if you're into looking for just finishing powder from the drugstore, something like this would be really, really nice. So I highly, highly recommend. It is a bit up there in, like, as Rexall, it's not like how the drugstore is kind of graduated in price range. So you start with like your Annabelle, NYC, Wet n Wild, and then you got your CoverGirl. That it's kind of in the like just past NYX pricing. So I think this powder was between $15 and $20. So, but it is really good. So highly, highly recommend that. I've got two foundations to mention. This one I loved for a long time early on, and then I kind of got out of it. But then I kind of rediscovered it and fallen back in love with it, and it is the Revlon Color Stay, and it is the normal to dry formula. There's two formulas. This is an old bottle. Now they have a pump, which is great. I can't wait to finish this and get one with a pump. But I really like the normal to dry formula because it isn't too oily. I found some things, read this, it's almost too dewy, which is fine in like the dead of winter, but when I start to kind of transition my skin to more milder climes in this time of year with the spring, I want something that still not demi-matte, but between demi-matte and dewy, you know, just something nice and natural finish. The Revlon Color Stay Normal to Dry is really, really good for that. I haven't tried the oily skin one, so I can't say, but this one I really, really like, and I have uber dry skin, and the color is perfect for me. This is 150 buff, wearing it today. Really, really good. And I have a line of these in my Pro Kit as well, kind of go along with my Makeup Forever ones, so can't say enough good things about this, and it does last. It says 24 hours. I wouldn't test it for that long, but it's quite good. And then the other one I do like is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow. It is a bit too oily and dewy for me in the spring and summer, but in the fall and winter it's really, really quite good. Kind of keeps my skin alive, looking fresh, looking, you know, not like paper. If anybody knows what it's like to have dry skin in the wintertime and you put foundation on, you just feel like your face is made of paper. It's really bad. Anyway, this helps with that. So those are my two foundations, and then the last base product is going to be a concealer, and it should be no surprise that it is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. So good. Easy to use, super cheap, especially if you get it on sale for like $5 or $6. I don't know. I've heard it's a dupe for the NARS Radiant Creamy, but I've never used the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer before, so I can't say. But it has, like, it's not the most high coverage, but that's fine, because I don't need, like, the most high coverage. But it has good medium coverage, I'd say. Good medium coverage, cheap, easy to use concealer. I like it. So if you haven't tried it, I would suggest giving it a go. Let's move on to kind of eye-y things from the drugstore that I absolutely love. The first one is from NYX. I'm going to try not to go super heavy on the NYX products with this, because I know NYX kind of ride the line sometimes between high-end and drugstore, and they kind of have their own store. But anyway, I really, really quite like the white liquid liner. The reason I do is because I find this really, really unique. No other brand kind of has something like this that's so effective. It's in your like little, it's like a pot of whiteout pretty much. It's got a little brush tip, and you just, if you want a white line, if you want to add like eye art, if you want to just accent like the wing or something, it's really good. And like I said, you don't see this anywhere else really, and even high-end, even in Sephora and other stores like that, you don't find white liquid liners as much per se as like browns and blacks. So I don't know, I think this is really neat, really unique, worth a couple bucks to pick up. A couple bucks, probably around 10, but oh, I think it's neat. I think it's great. Good on ya. It just hit the floor. The next thing for the eyes is a mascara. This is gonna be my ride or die mascara, pretty much. I don't like doing the high-end mascara all the time. You guys know how I feel about high-end mascaras. $30 for a tube of black goo. I'm sure it's the packaging, but anyway. The CoverGirl Lash Blast Volume. I don't have one with me now. I have a brush that I use for like combing as needed, but this mascara, the one that goes with this, is so good. It has the rubber brush like of doom, but they're soft and squidgy. They're not stabby like some other ones. So it's really great for getting in there and fluffing up those lashes. It makes them long. It makes them thick. I want the thick. Screw length. I can put falsies on if I want length. If I want thick lashes, I use something like this, and it's really, really great for that. So the CoverGirl Lash Blast Volume is definitely my favorite drugstore mascara. And I've tried other things. I've tried Rimmel, I've tried Maybelline, but I always go back to the CoverGirl one. So there you go. The next eye thing is the e.l.f. HD Under Eye Setting Powder. You guys know this was in my most used products of 2016. It'll be in my most used of 2017. I go through these so much. It is basically the only thing I use to set my under eye. I just wish they were bigger. I wish there was more in there because it's the tiniest little pot. So I should do the math to see what's actually worth more, like the Laura Mercier Under Eye Secret Brightening Powder, that one, or this. I hear they're similar, but like that one actually has product in it, where this one's like a little like poof of product. But really nice, $4. And the last sort of eye thing before we get into eyeshadow is the Maybelline Eye Studio Gel Pot Liner. If I want to do gel liner, this is generally what I use. This is Blackest Black. I also have the charcoal one by mistake. It's really good, easy to use, lasts fairly long, and importantly doesn't really transfer, which is what I have the most trouble with black gel liners. The Makeup Geek one kind of does. If I put it in my waterline, it'll go everywhere, which is kind of sad. Like, I wish it would set down even if not just a bit faster. So the Maybelline one is actually really good, and it is a drugstore one. I think the tricky thing with this one is everybody knows it's good, so if you go to the drugstore to try and buy it, it's never there. So if you can find it, I'd say give it a go. Alright, we'll do lips before we do eyeshadow, I think, because lips are fun. I only have 2 lip things from the drugstore. The first one should also be no surprise if you've been here a video or two, the NYX Soft Matte Lip Creams. This particular shade is Stockholm, and this is my all-time favorite, like, lip cream. So good. Can wear it with anything. Easy to wear, easy to apply, comfortable, perfect color. Love. There's a swatch video of all of them down below if you want to see. The next one is from Rimmel. This is my favorite drugstore bullet lipstick formula. I've learned I'm very touchy on smells with lipstick, so the majority of drugstore lipstick bullets, I can't do it. They all smell like death. I don't know why, but they do. Maybelline's have that like waxy smell. L'Oreal covers it up with that like fruity, sour, weird smell. Ugh. The Rimmel ones, it's still fruity, but it's not offensively fruity. That's the only one I can stand, really. This particular one is the Rimmel Kate Moss Lasting Finish Lipstick in the shade 08. I'll show you. I've like destroyed it. That's all that's left. It's perfect. It's like it's a mauve nude, but it's more on the nude side, so it kind of blends in nicely. I can wear this with just about any eye look as a rule. So it's nice, it's comfortable. It's Kate Moss. I don't know. It's quite good. All of them in this range are good. The formula on the matte range, the ones in the red bullet, are good, but they have a different smell. I really wish they didn't do that, but it's like a super tangy, sour smell as well that like permeates. So it's one of those ones that like throughout the day you know it's still there. So I'd stay away from like the matte ones, even though the finish is really, really good. Satin ones from the Kate Moss line are really good. And then there's the ones in the nude packaging. Also, I approve of those. But this one's my favorite of all of them ever. Alright, and lastly we're going to tackle eyeshadow. So, from the drugstore, favorite, most, like, you should probably get one, you won't be mad situation, is from L'Oreal. And it is the L'Oreal Infallible Single Pot Eyeshadows. And these are almost not even drugstore. The single eyeshadows are like $13 or $14 or $15, something ridiculous for a tiny pot of eyeshadow. but if you can find them on sale, I highly recommend you do. They're like a creamy formula. There's a little lid here, and then that's what it looks like in the little pan. I'll do a swatch for you. But if you want that like crazy high shine pop of lid color that like all of the drugstore eyeshadow palettes kind of are missing, this is the direction you want to go. This one is the shade Hourglass Beige, and it is the one I would highly recommend picking up. If you're a little deeper in skin tone, Sahara Treasure is really nice, and there's also like a rosy one if you like a more pink undertone. But like, look at the shine that you get out of that, and that's a drugstore eyeshadow. So great for just plunking on the lid with a crease color. I keep some of these in my kit as well. They're beautiful for bridal makeup. It's really, really good. So I'm sorry it's not cruelty free, but they do a nice job. So I'd recommend those. Palettes, I have the hardest time with drugstore eyeshadow palettes. So it had to be NYX. It's the only brand that I kind of enjoy. And the one that I was really, really surprised with was actually the NYX Ultimate Brights palette. This had a surprising amount of pigment for a drugstore eyeshadow palette, and especially for like brights. So traditionally colors like this really have a hard time, and like, look at that. Look at that. That's from a drugstore eyeshadow palette. So the pigment on these is actually present. There's 16 shades. Good counting, Haley. There's 16 shades, which is a ton for a drugstore palette. And the finishes are various. We do have some shimmers and some mattes. They're not like high shine shimmers, but they do have some like little bitty glittery bits. I'll do another couple swatches of some problematic colors. Like purple is one of those ones that's really hard to formulate. So is red. So not the best swatches ever, but like you can see, guys, there's pigment, and it's like pigment for days. It just keeps going. I was really, really impressed with this. This sells for $20. So $20 for 16 shades, a little over $1 an eyeshadow. There's not a lot per pan, but still, I don't, like when you're using brights, you don't use a whole lot. You just use a little, so I'm impressed. Good job, NYX. I wouldn't mind taking a look at the Warm Neutrals palette, but if it's really similar to the Modern Renaissance, I really don't need it because I have the Modern Renaissance and I should really use it more. Last thing is another single shadow from NYX, and if you want something along the like liddy, shiny whatnots, the prismatic shadows are really nice. I just killed this one. I crashed it on the floor. It's very, very soft. But anyway, this one is like a really cool like mermaidy green color. I'll just show you what it looks like there. Like, that's a mermaid color. It's like a dark mermaidy green. I'm really impressed with those as drugstore single shadows go. Oh, and there's a blush. There's one lonely blush that I need to talk about really quick, and it's from Wet n Wild, and it's the Color Icon blushes. Super cheap, giant pan, beautiful color. Like, they blend really beautifully, and if you want something that you can just like not worry about hitting pan on, just like give her on the daily, something like this is perfect. These are $3 or $4, so can't go wrong with those guys. So that's kind of my drugstore suggestions, my drugstore all-time favorites. And now I've made a huge mess everywhere, but that's okay. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me talk about the things I love. Let me know if any of these are also any of your favorites, tried and true products. I love hearing it. You guys know I love talking makeup. That's what I do. It's my jam. So anyway, put your thoughts in the comments down below, and I will see you guys in my next video.